Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you about partial quotient method. There's two reasons why we use this in division rather than just doing the traditional method. And one is that it eliminates mistakes with zeros in the dividends, which cause a lot of trouble for some kids. And number two, it falls in line with estimation and makes the estimation obvious. In the traditional method, you can't see the estimation, you're just doing it in your head. But in the partial quotient method, you can actually see what's going on. All right, so let's take the first problem I have here, and I have the dividend is 3,246, and the divisor or divisor, however you want to say it, is 6. Okay, the way I would do this, now how this is unlike traditional method is we have this long line here to block both sides of what we're going to do here. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up, and if I could show my fingers here, I would cover the 46 up with my fingers, and I would look at this and say, how many times does 6 go into 32? Well, I know that the basic fact for 6 going into 32 is 6 times 5 equals 30. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to write down 5. But then I lift my fingers and I see that I'm covering two numbers. So I need two place value markers. So I need to put two zeros there. So I put two zeros on the side here. And then what I do is I just multiply it out. So if I have two zeros here, if I multiply it, I have two zeros here. And then I do 6 times 5, and I get 30, which comes out to 3,000. Now I just do like traditional method and I subtract out and I get 246. Again, if my fingers were here, I would cover up that 6 and say, how many times does 6 go into 24? And 6 goes into 24 4 times. Then I lift my finger and I see that there's one number under this. So I'm going to put 1 0 there to show the place value marker. Okay? And then I multiply it out. So if I have 1 0 here, I'm going to have 1 0 here. Then I go 6 times 4, I get 24. And there you go. Now just like traditional, I continue to subtract. This time I got 6. And so how many times does 6 go into 6? It goes in 1 time. Okay, 6 times 1 is 6, so I'll put it down here. And I subtract out and I get 0. The last step that I do is I add all these together to get my quotient. So I add it together and I get 541. So that would be my answer. So on the top I would write 541. All right, so let's look at another situation that we might have on these problems, and that's with remainders. One of the things that we've changed when we're talking about remainders is we no longer just say that they're a remainder. We show the fraction instead of a remainder. The reason we do that is because in reality, what we are is showing what fraction of a whole we have in the answer. We are going to make our answer come out to be a fraction if we have a remainder. So here's an example. I have a dividend of 541, and the 9 is going to go into that. But it's not going to go in evenly. This is going to have a remainder, which we're going to change into a fraction. So here we go. Okay, I look at this again, I cover up the 1, and I know that 9 goes into 54 6 times. So I'm going to write 6 here. And then I lift my fingers up, and there is a 1 there, so I know there has to be 1 0. Okay, so I multiply it out. If there's a 0 here, then I know there's going to be a 0 here. 9 times 6, I know is 54. Then, just like in traditional, I'm going to subtract and I'm going to get 1. Now, 9 does not go into 1 evenly, so I'm going to put a 0 out here just so I make sure that I know I've done this. So 0 times 9 is 0, and if I subtract that out, I'm going to have 1 left over. But we're going to do something different. So before we go that route, we're going to find out what the whole numbers that we have. And so if we add 60 to 0, we get 60, obviously. And so then we're going to go up here and we're going to put 60 on the top, and then we're going to deal with this amount that's left over, and we're going to show it as a fraction. So what you do is you take what we call a remainder and you bring it on up to the top here, and you put it in the numerator of a fraction. So we have 1 part out of 9 that is going to be in the numerator. Then after that, we are going to take the divisor or divisor, and you're going to put it in to the denominator, because that's showing how many pieces make a whole. So our answer is 60 and 1/9 instead of showing an R and a remainder. So all their problems when they do division should be, or they should always show their remainder in the form of a fraction. Okay, that's pretty much all there is to partial quotient. That's it for today. Thank you.